We are live. How is everybody doing? Welcome to the first episode of the Brothers Aligned in Life Lessons in Sports Forever podcast. Otherwise, Ball is forever. I'm B Wise,
I'm Sugar.
and Brother Miles is here. How y'all doing this week, fellas? How we doing?
Oh man, two more
What's that
days.
sound? That
Great,
sound heavy.
great,
That sound
great.
heavy, brother.
Finally,
Last coming days, man. If I gotta go up in that hellhole y'all call school.
The public education system.
Yeah, man.
finally went back to work for the first time a couple of days ago.
Mm.
How was that? How was that? How's the new
Here's the
station?
new station.
Well, it's not I went at a new station just yet. They gave me one
Okay.
more day at my old station since I found out about the move when I was on vacation.
Mm.
So tomorrow will be the first day. Well, technically it won't because I'll be working at another station. And Sunday will be my actual first day at the new assignment.
Mm.
How you feel about it?
Well, earlier this evening, I was there unpacking all of my stuff and everything set up to how I liked it, everything organized and laid out, and everything is going well. I'm adjusted, looking forward to the challenges that it may bring in terms of call volume not being as busy as I once was at the station that I'm currently or was assigned to, but I'm ready for it. I'm excited about it.
Can they transfer you to another city?
No.
Okay.
No, this is all Lynchburg Fire Department stuff. They
Okay.
they got no jurisdiction, no authority over any other fire department.
Okay. Can you hear us, Wise? Yep, I think we lost Wise again.
I can't hear.
My glasses be playing tricks on me.
Can you hear us?
Hey, I can hear y'all. I can hear y'all now.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay.
Well, well, we are here. We are here with a new episode, Ballers Forever. This all started in strictly sports, just us breaking down. I don't know what we started like, just doing games and talk, reacting live, and I don't know. We started it strictly, and then we went to sometimes, and then we went to mostly, and I don't know. I think we felt, or I don't want to speak for y'all, let y'all speak. I just think that we felt that strictly sports could be more, and I think Ballers will allow us that runway and that space to be more and talk about life, sports, lessons, just everything through the lens of the game. Like Trigger, you played the game. You a Hall of Famer. Like you have that analytic, whatever, making up words. You have that perspective, Miles. You as a referee, you have that take, that lens. Just like y'all live it, y'all in it, y'all play it. So and then just trying to find like a place or a platform for us to build to help be like just honest and open about other things outside of sports, the other side of sports. So I don't know. I just that's what we ended up. I'll let y'all say something to it, speak to it.
Nah, man, excited about the new vision, the new path, and see where it goes, man. Hopefully, it goes for the better. I think it's gonna go for the better. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. We were kind of already kind of naturally heading in that direction. I mean, you mentioned it. We were strictly sports, and it was sometimes and mostly, and now it's just like maybe we should just blend some life talk in it because every sport you play, you can learn a life lesson.
Facts.
Um, so it's the perfect way to go about business now. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk about all the hot topics. Um, highlight our favorite teams and the things that they're doing, and within all these highlights, within all these situations, these subjects and stuff that we talk about, as far as sports goes, there's a life lesson to be learned in all of it. So that's the vision. That's what we're hoping to provide here. Not only our takes on what we see and how we feel and how we look at certain sports situations for certain teams and all that, but the life lessons that we also experience through these games and through these situations as well.
That's facts. And we are transitioning, so stick with us. I know some stuff still says strictly and all that. We working on it. We working on it. Bear with us. It's coming. We coming. Dion, like Dion said, we coming. So just bear with us as we get into it. But let's get into the first topic. The State of the Union, NFL Week 1 preseason is here. We got 3 games tomorrow. I got my first Panthers preseason game in person to get to watch the NFC South future division champions play. Shadir, speaking of the Buffaloes, and then the Cowboys. Y'all got all this stuff going on with Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons and all that. So I'm gonna throw up a Hail Mary unless. Where y'all want to start? Y'all want to start with the Panthers? I can talk about the Panthers. Y'all want to start about the Cowboys? Talk about y'all off season, what's going on, how you
Yeah,
want to do it?
we talked about Dallas enough. Uh,
All right.
Not really on the show, but through text messages. Following this whole Micah Parsons situation. So yeah, man, tell us about the Panthers and what they got going on.
I think we got hope from Panthers Twitter, the videos, interviews, everything. Just and then looking at how Bryce finished last season, we got hope for the first time in a while. Like it's nothing that you've seen on paper yet. It's just flashes. It's just potential, but it's hope. It's an actual feeling. It's an actual energy. It's a different vibe. Like Coach Canales, Dan Morgan, Bryce Young. uh, Derek Brown, Robert Hunt, like all these peoples and players coming together and just bringing that energy from a receiver room where I can go from Adam Thielen to Jimmy Horn to Xavier Legette to T Mac, or I'm sorry, not T Mac. No, it's just T Mac. He like T Mac, not Tat. Like I don't know. It just and maybe it's just the season ticket holder in me hoping that my investment will pay off and it's not a bunch of losses, but I just feel something different. I feel Bryce Young is developing. His leadership is starting to show. And our defense, these young pass rushers, these cornerbacks, the safeties, linebackers, I think it's going to be fast. It's going to be flying around. And I think in a division that's always up for grabs, if we can play good defense, take care of the ball, and get the ball, and win some of these close games that we had, and not give up the most points ever in history. Um, I think we'll be good. I mean, don't give up 600 yards to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you maybe don't lose that game. So I'm excited. I'm ready to see the starters play this Friday during the game, and I'm ready to watch Shador too. Watch Shador, everything he's dealing with this off season going on. Like it's just a lot of anticipation. It's a lot of building. It's a lot of momentum coming up, and it's just an excitement around it, and I'm really feeling it. And then just from our Charlotte trip, like the energy and the spirit that we got there, walking to the stadium. Hey, Lady Ray, I saw you. I'm sorry. Hey, how you doing? We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Um, like it's just all of that, man. Just all the energy that's around my life right now. Diving deeper into faith, diving deeper into family, diving deeper into fitness, diving deeper into foundation, like the pillars, like. All that is culminating, and I can see it in the Panthers, and it's just my attention is on my intention, and I'm getting long-winded, so y'all stop me. But y'all go ahead. What's
No,
up?
you got it, brother. Whatever you got to say.
So,
No, I go on my tangents and I be talking way longer than I should be. So this is your time to shine.
I mean, I feel good, man. Like we didn't. I look at the Cleveland. We had joint practice with the Cleveland Browns this week. That's who we played this week, and I look at it like we were on in there on. What's up? How you doing? Integrity first. Congratulations, brother. Congratulations, Integrity. How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. Congrats.
Appreciate you.
Congrats, my brother.
Lady Ray, we see you. I got you.
What up, Lady Ray?
We did. I got you. I did. We did say hi. We acknowledge you. We appreciate you. But no, man, we would have been on that Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. What would we be in that position right now? We're paying a quarterback $250 million guaranteed, and he's not even playing for you, and people even forget he's on your team because you're sitting here having discussions about four other quarterbacks, like the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. Like that experiment. What if we'd have been in on that? So to actually have a young team with young players we're developing in a draft class that everybody hit, and a draft class now that may be even better like that, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but looking at teams like the Bills and the Lions who did it the right way, who built the team, who built the foundation, who did all that, like I just feel like that is the right way to build in today's NFL and to go like these teams, like they just I don't know. They just think they wanted to get it quick, but it's build it. Look at the Eagles. They just won. They went to the Super Bowl. They had a horrible collapse, then got back to the Super Bowl. Like I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all think it in the NFL, is it still spend money or is it to build a team from the ground up and just let them develop? And those coaches and people have that time to really develop because we're in a microwave society and league. Like let's take it to a real life lesson to it. Like why do you think we live in the microwave society and do people in the NFL, coaches, GMs, front office players have the time to develop and should they be allowed the time to develop like they fully should?
To answer your first question, I think the reason why we are in a microwave society is because, for starters, the money is abnormous. You know, people want success now. Um, People don't have patience. The lack of patience is dying. Um, People are not willing to wait 3, 4, 5 years. They want to see results now. Um, that for whatever reason, that's just how it is, and that's what it comes down to in the NFL. It was back in the day. Hell, you could come in as a coach, and you could have 3 straight losing seasons, and you won't even thought of being fired. Now, you can lose your job midway. You can lose your job midway in the season.
Facts.
Um, it's just people want results now, and unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. But I think it's a combination of both. Yeah, you build from the ground up and free agency. I think you look at the Eagles, Cowboys in one part. They used to build from the ground up. Dallas never got anybody from free agency, but Will McClain, he was a drill. Like, he was a talent guru. That man could draft his ass off. But then you had teams like the Los Angeles Rams where they just, free agency, trades, and then they finally won. Now they had to, rebuild, and now they're going to try to work their way up. So it just depends on, the team philosophy. I think it works both ways. Um, if you have a fan base that is patient, then you build it, you build from the ground up. But if you're one of those high value teams that want to see progress now, then you got to get it from free agency.
Yeah, I think, like Mal said, kind of echo what he was just talking about. I think it's situation dependent. Some teams, they're terrible to the point that they're probably not going to attract any kind of free agents there. They have no choice but to draft and build from the ground up. And then maybe they'll get good and maybe they'll start being able to attract certain free agents to sign with them. You got other teams who are in position and maybe they are a piece or two away from being a Super Bowl contender. So they might just go the free agent route. They might already have the guys that they need in place to compete. So I think it's very situation dependent when it comes to that. As far as the microwave society, again, Mal hit the nail on the head here. Um, people want instant people want instant gratification when it comes to things. That's with
Facts.
everything. Nobody wants to wait. Everybody wants to, build Rome in one day. Um, one saying that I've always lived by in my life is that anything that comes easy is probably not good for you. So people doing things to try to get that instant gratification or try to get something fast, more often than not, it's not beneficial and it's not going to withstand um, for a long period of time. anything that's worth having is going to take time to build. You know, relationships, um, any type of savings you're trying to build up on. You know, you're not going to get it all in one day, but if you're trying to do something for the future and you're trying to finance it, the quick option would be to go take out a loan, knowing that interest rates and all the other stuff, will pay back more money than what you end up getting in the long run, instead of just being patient and waiting, so where you can use it all at once and then not have to worry about paying anybody anything back. So people are very much willing to do things, without really thinking about the consequences offhand, and a lot of times you pay for it later. And it's the same thing with these sports teams. If like if a player gets a big contract, like the Dallas Cowboys, keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting, and then they give these guys these huge contracts that they probably could have signed for way cheaper, and then it handicaps them in the future because you want, I don't know what it is, but that's just an example of people wanting to do things and go for the gusto, and then later on, you know, you're paying for it. So be patient, people.
What is for both of y'all? Because two of y'all are two of the most patient people I know, and what delayed gratification is something that is you have to really learn. For y'all, what is some methods or some things that y'all do to remain stoic, to remain patient in your own lives? Like
I
what's
mean, to be honest, I really can't even answer that. I think it's just something you got to have. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's something you can practice or learn. Well, I guess it's something you can learn, but I think it's easy for people just to have it. Because it comes from how you was raised, um, and just the understanding that it's not going to come like Trigger said, it's not going to come, you know, in one day. It takes time. Um, my philosophy. People always say life is short. I don't feel that way. I think majority of people will live a long life. So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
facts?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Um, for me, I can tell you, experience has been my teacher. There were a lot of things that I didn't know. I jumped the gun on a couple things way too early, and had to learn later, or I learned instantly, but had to pay for it later. So I think for me, experience has made me kind of be like, hold up, chill out, sit back, wait. Like, we've been here before. We saw what happens when you rush, when you try to force things to happen. You know, just wait. So, um, but yeah, I think experience has been the best teacher for me in terms of why I am the way that I am in terms of being patient. Also, I've always kind of had that nature about myself coming up. I've never been one to really go crazy over things, or like really jump on bandwagons and like follow what everybody else was doing. I always kind of hung back and waited for things to kind of fall into my lap, rather than going out and chasing after things everybody else was going after. So I think having that in my background, and then, like I say, getting older and kind of doing some things without really having a blueprint and finding out, has taught me to slow down.
And I see that, and I understand that, and I hear it. And I guess I gotta take how I feel about the Panthers and apply that to life too for my patience. I'm patient with a 2-12 team and all these losing seasons. Be patient a little bit more, but the bamboo has reached this roots and it's about to start growing, and the Panthers are going to the playoffs next year. So y'all stay tuned for that. Y'all get ready for
It
that,
happened.
and it's gonna happen, Trigger. I'm just letting you know it's gonna happen.
I'm being
But
optimistic with you too, brother.
oh, I know.
I ain't saying like I ain't sitting here and be like, nah, yeah, right, nah, like, nah. I know better than to misjudge anybody, because every season is different. What the team did last year doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna carry over into this year.
it's a brand new year, but to caveat that, it's a brand new year, but the same old Cowboys. So let's dive into the media machine of what Dallas is. And we have talked about it, but we're talking to you, Miles, beforehand. Dallas is doing Dallas things. The documentary's about to come out. The season's about to start. The hype is going. Is Micah Parsons copying what Miles Garrett did? Hey, I want a contract. Here's my letter. Here's what I put on Twitter. The fans are saying and all this kind of stuff. But Jerry is not the owner that's gonna be quiet and sit back. He's gonna feed into it and talk to it? Or do y'all think that this is a real problem in Dallas and a real problem that is continuing to show that maybe Dallas doesn't have a good culture? And George Pickens took his shot too. So I want to get y'all's thought on that as well because I want to ask y'all
Um,
about that.
well, this didn't expose Dallas having a bad culture. That shit's been exposed.
Yep.
This ain't nothing new with that owner and that owner's son. Two things could be true. Um, Two things could be true. Me personally, I don't think Michael's worth the 45 million that he wants. I've always, I've said it on the show. He is a liability in the run game. Dallas' run game has been atrocious these past couple of years. He's a liability in the run game, and he does not show up in the big moments. The first 10 to 12 games, he looks like fucking Lawrence Taylor. The last six, he looks like me, non-existent.
Damn.
Yeah. He has 0.5 more sacks than me in the playoffs, and he's played in what, three playoff games?
Not many.
Yeah. Um, and like I said, he's a liability in the run game. T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, they're not good in the run game. They are great. They know how to play the run. Um, you can key on Micah Parsons. If you want to be those standout players, it's like, okay, we need to stay like Deion Sanders. He took away half the field. With Micah Parsons, you can gash him on run plays. We need to run the ball where 11 is at. And so, but I will also say this shows that Jerry Jones does not know how to do business from a football standpoint. You could have signed Micah 2, 3 years ago, or you could have traded him 2, 3 years ago. It could have got a plethora of pieces. Um, or you could have signed him 2, 3 years ago for $10 to $15 million cheaper. But there's no telling what that man be thinking. Like, somebody please find some dirt on this man, please. Good Lord, this man he has got in his 80 some years of living. He has got to have done something.
Nah, he clean, bro.
Oh
Yeah, but
hell yeah.
as far as this Michael Parsons situation goes, obviously, it's typical Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we've seen this now twice with Dak. We've seen it with CD last year. So this is nothing new. I just hate that. The only thing that really worries me is like, if there are other guys from the team that are coming due, are we going to really get their best effort? Are we really going to get all the care from them about, putting in the work and things of those natures and stuff? If the organization is treating Micah Parsons this way, arguably probably the best player on the team, the best player on that defense for sure. If I'm a guy who's coming up and I'm about to, hit my last year my rookie contract and I outperformed it and I'm playing great and I'm a difference maker and I'm looking at how this team is treating Micah, like, do I want to really go all out? Do I really want to even be here? If I see how ownership is treating this guy, and I'm probably not even better than him, so you know, why would they do anything for me? But yeah, it sends a bad message to all the other guys in the locker room. Now, I think Michael will play because he's going to be getting fined a very large sum of money for every game that he sits, and I don't think he can afford to lose out on that. Especially before he secures this deal. So I think he'll still play, but I think there's a lot of hurt feelings. There's obviously some tension, and And whether they realize it or not, it affects other people in the organization, both the players and coaches, and everybody in between. So I don't know, but I don't really have much to say on it because we've seen this story every time a player is up for pay being paid. How Jerry drags it out, waits to the last minute, and you got all the drama, all the stuff in between, all the back and forth. It takes away from football. And it's a microcosm of what this team is about. It's never been about football for the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to Jerry Jones. It's all about business. It's all about money. Now, he's showing you right now that he has no idea what he's doing as far as football goes. So there you go.
So I want to flip this whole thing on the perspective of, let's look at it as, let's say Mouse uh Micah doesn't show up in the run game. But let me look at it like, but Micah Parsons does show up. He is Micah Parsons still. He shows up. He over delivers sometimes, not all the time. And he feels like he's being overlooked and he's taking this to heart. So on a personal side for y'all, in a question, have you ever been in a position like where maybe you gave your all and it wasn't appreciated, or you got shorted, or it wasn't looked at like that, and then maybe you weren't valued the way you should have been valued? Like, has that ever happened to y'all? Like, y'all had any place like where you had to protect your peace and like still
Oh,
show up?
absolutely. I went through it in the spring for the past 3 years at the referee camp. They send me out to these college scrimmages to work on my craft, and these college referees are like, do you do college and this, that, and the third? I go to camp and they saying that I'm loud and I'm vocal, this, that, and the third. Oh man, you killing it, this, that, and the third. And then I get my evaluation back and it's like, what? Or the people who decide to whether pick you up or not, they come up with all this, that, and the third. But then when I go back home and I hear reference, I gotta, hear, they ain't pick you up. Oh no, it's got to be other reasons, and I think everybody knows the reason why. But that's another story for another day. Um, well, not another story. It's because of my hair. You know, we still haven't got over. We're still on that. What does a professional look like? Um, so yeah, that's what I endure. And then it's to the point, like, do I even want to go back this spring? So
Do you want to go back this spring?
right now it's a no. Right
Mm.
now it's a no. It's expensive, man. It costs $1,000 to go to these camps. Um, and and for them to, I don't want to deal with that shit again. I got to deal with the camp and don't get picked up, then I got to come back like, man, how the hell you didn't get picked up? Or they pick this person over you. Like, I appreciate the love, but you get tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it just constantly reminds you of all the hard work I put in, man. Driving to Norfolk, driving to this state, driving to that state to do scrimmages for nothing. What I feel like. So
Just a waste.
yeah, just a waste. Especially when everybody else can see you're talented, but except for the people that matters. So I ain't mean to ramble, but yeah,
You
that's pretty
good?
much it. Yeah.
Ramble, brother. Ramble on.
So I kind of lost the passion for trying to officiate college now.
So I'm gonna ask Trigger this, because Miles, you gave us a beautiful thing on the referee camp. So I want to ask Trigger this directly from like maybe a firehouse perspective. Like, knowing your worth isn't just about dollars, it's about energy, presence, and peace. Have you ever had someone that make you feel replaceable when you've been a foundation? Like, have you had something to speak to from your, not just the firehouse, anything in career that Miles is speaking to?
Absolutely. This move from the station that I was at to this new station, and just everything that happened. So try to make a long story short. I mean, I ain't gonna go into all the details, but basically, I was on vacation when I found out that I would be working at a new station when I came off of vacation. And initially, when I found out, I was upset because you know this is a station that I wanted to be at from the time I was in recruit school, and it took 9 months before I finally was able to get there after I graduated. I was there for 2.5 years, and I was working with a great crew, and across that station, 3 shifts, 6 people per shift, so 18 people. I was the only one in that entire station that knew the streets, every street, the whole we call territories, which is the area that we're responsible for covering. Every street in our territory, or our first due. They're interchangeable, means the same thing. So no one could out like every morning at roll call we would have blank maps of different areas of our territory, and we would fill out the streets on them. Like we had to look at the street, and you know I was the only one that did my map entirely. Every street was correct. Every like I knew all of it. If Google Maps was down, if anything was down where we couldn't find directions to where we were going, I could guide people there turn by turn. That's how good I am at knowing the territory. And that's one thing they preach when you get there. Like, make sure you learn the streets. No one ever truly does it, but I actually took it seriously, and I learned every street in our first due. Um, only one at the
Let me
station.
mind you, Trigger is not from that area.
I'm not from the area. Yes, thank you for pointing that out too, by the way. So 17 other people at that stadium, some born and raised in that city, and they don't know the area as well as I do. So that's the first thing. Then there was other things too that I did, above and beyond. That other people wouldn't do. The way I cleaned the bathroom, the way I cleaned the station, the way I kept the trucks and stuff clean, stocked, everything good to go. When the oncoming shift would come in to relieve me, um, if they got an early call before they had a chance to check off the units, they didn't have to worry about anything if I was on it because everything's stocked and ready to go. Like they're gonna go on this call and whatever they need is right there for them. They ain't got to worry about opening something up and it being empty or it not being there or it being broken or dirty or anything like that. I took a lot of pride in making sure stuff was clean and restocked on those units because we ran a bunch of calls. And I think that's what motivated me too. Is like we're the busiest station in the city, but I don't use that as an excuse to not make sure that my medic unit and my engine looks good when it pulls up. Like when patients go in the back, I want them to feel like, oh, these guys care. They don't know what type of day we had, but when they pull in the back of my ambulance, like trash is not running over. There's no junk or dirt or you know anything nasty covering up the seats and the stretcher. None of that. Like everything's put back and organized. Like everything about me and making sure that these people have the best experience ever comes out. And I don't care. I'll be down there in the bay at 3 o'clock in the morning mopping out the back of a medic. Like just making sure everything look clean and dirty. Like people come in, like we run 17 calls in the shift, in a 24-hour shift, just absolutely getting hammered by calls. Like call after call after call. And the oncoming shift comes in and it looks like we did nothing. Like one guy came up to me one day and he was like, "Man, damn, did y'all do anything yesterday?" I'm like, "Yeah, we ran 16 calls." He's like, "Well, shit, it don't like y'all did anything." That's the type of stuff that I live for. And that's how it should be. And it sets a precedent across the entire department. No one is as busy as we are. You have no excuses to not have y'all stuff together. If I can do it, everybody else can do it, given the circumstances. There's a lot of other stations out there, that the stuff wasn't presentable, stuff was junky, things were all messed up and stuff like, and they had the time to actually sit and clean it, where I made time to make sure my stuff was right. I could have came in at 3 a.m. and just walked upstairs and went to bed and like, fuck it, I'll get in the morning. Like somebody else could come, if the other shift comes in before I get downstairs and have a chance to clean it out, too bad. They got to deal with it. I could have absolutely had that attitude, but I didn't. And that's the attitude I had towards everything. Like, so the way I hung my stuff up in my locker, like I had Chiefs come in and look at my locker and see how my clothes were folded, and they thought it was the greatest thing because everybody else kind of had stuff thrown in their lockers and stuff. All my stuff was organized. But like I always like to say, how you do anything is how you do everything.
I hear that all the time from Trey.
And I take that to heart. I really do. I take it to heart. I have my methods and my processes about everything that I do, and it's all the same, and it yields the same results, and it instills discipline. And all this stuff is based on being disciplined. So washing dishes at the station, if you're disciplined to do that the right way, you'll be disciplined to go out and do something major like fighting fire or trying to bring somebody back from cardiac arrest. Everything has a process. So that's how I carried myself, and like the care and all the things that I did, going above and beyond. I was in charge of cleaning supplies, making sure the station had supplies so that we could like clean stuff with, and wash our trucks with, clean our toilets with, all the things, mop the floor. And then when they came at me and told me I was moving while I was away from work, um, it broke my heart a little bit because it's like, I did all these things to make sure that I would be a staple here. I memorized the territory. I know where every street is. I'm not even from here. The way I clean the station, my process on calls. I memorized patients' birthdays and names, all of our regulars, at least. People we see like every shift or every other shift. Like I knew their names and their birthdays by heart. Like let's let that sink in for a second. Just random people. And I can go a month or two without seeing them. And then we'll go see them all of a sudden, and then there it is. It was to the point that if I was away, I was texting coworkers. If a call came out and they were going to a frequent flyer, hey, name and birthday, text it to them. If I wasn't there, that'd be one less thing they have to do when they get on scene. Sometimes you get carried away, you forget to ask them, hey, what's your name? What's your birthday? You got to track down a family member. You got to go and go out of your way to try to find information. So I take one thing off their plate. Hey, here's their name and birthday. I mean, I put in far too much work and far too much effort, and then it just uprooted me and moved me, without even, like, I don't know the reason. I still don't know. But, it was just, and then, I would think that my coworkers, would, like, hey, I know things kind of happen out of our control. Are you good? Something like it was, nobody said
What's
anything.
going on, brother Blue?
Nobody really. I talked to two people that worked with me on my shift, and they were the only ones that really said anything, and everybody else kind of like just like nothing happened. All the times I helped them out and done things and went out of my way, and it was like I got thrown out. Just all right, whatever, And then not only people on my own crew, but the other two shifts at my station. One guy texted me, have you left yet? No. I mean, I'm on vacation. I'm not officially gone. Another guy texts me, hey, when are you leaving? I need somebody who needs your locker. Like, just talking about it now just upsets me. But, I'm a move on. But, it's just, you put in so much. And this is the farewell that you get from people that know you. These aren't people that I haven't worked with, the people that I don't know, people that know me. And this is how, it's no, hey, wish you the best of luck or whatever. I hate to see you go, but, and like, appreciate everything you've done and all the work you put in. Like, it's like they couldn't wait to get me out of there.
I think it's one of those things that unfortunately, the more I get into the nonprofit world, I learned is you can't expect everybody to have the same good intentions you have. Like
Yeah,
that
and that's
shit is
that's my
not
big that's my biggest flaw
it's
is
not a standard,
expecting the stuff that I do from other people.
Yeah.
And I know this. I know this. And I've told myself several times, like, Trey, these people ain't like you. These people ain't
You
gonna do
can't get
what you
mad,
do
man. I
if
can't
they
get
were in
mad
that
at people for not
situation.
being like me.
Like,
Yeah,
I can, and I still can't help but be like, but damn, I did so much, like things that other firefighters don't think to do or would never do. You would think that would warrant just some kind of, hey, it's going to be a big loss. I don't feel like me leaving is going to be like it's going to be felt.
yeah.
I don't know, but
I feel it.
I will
You
say
won't.
this. Oh, I'm sorry, B Wise. I'll
No, go ahead.
say
No, I won't
this.
say that.
I don't know how y'all are religiously. Um, but one thing as I got older, I realized God works in mysterious ways, man.
Yes, sir.
And you put in all that hard work, and you say you got transferred. It don't make sense why, and what the heck is going on. But you give it time, you gonna sit back and you gonna be like, okay, I see why now.
Yeah,
Maybe
uh,
your services was too good at
yeah.
that fire
Do it
station,
again.
and
but
then you
here,
do it again, and you'll be more appreciated. Maybe there, maybe it's gonna be a job, a higher promotion for you. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So just my best bet is just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's gonna, it'll pay off.
Keep being you. Yeah.
It was funny, when I was trying to get into teaching, I got hired at Carvin Middle. I didn't have all the requirements, so they couldn't hire me. So then I got put on. Once I went to Salem, and then towards the end of my first year during the summer, Carvin Middle School emailed me and asked me did I, gave me a job offer. Well, by then I was like, well, nah, I'm good now, but just keep doing what you're doing, man, and it'll work out in the long run. It
yeah,
don't
but
make
here's
sense now, but
here,
it'll come through.
yeah, well, here's the other side of that. Well, the station that I'm going to, Um, I got to looking at it. Yes, initially as I was, upset about the move, and then the way people kind of treated me on the way out. I looked at all the positives where I'm going. Um, I get to cook and actually eat my meals. I'm gonna get sleep. I'm gonna get a chance to exercise. Um, the area is not difficult to learn. The territory, and some of the territory I already know because I run a bunch of calls in it being at the station that I was at. So that's a plus. I already have about 70% of their territory memorized already. Um, did I mention sleep?
Yep.
I,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Eating, sleeping. Yep, we do a lot of sleeping.
You say you cook
Um,
your own clothes, you sleep,
You cook
cook
your
your
own
own food. I'm
clothes. You
sorry.
cook your own clothes. It's crazy.
no, I mean like cook. I can cook food and like
Yeah.
actually get through a meal without getting
Yeah.
interrupted.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I got you. My fault.
Eating, yeah, eating a meal
Yeah.
without getting interrupted,
Oh, my
and
fault. Okay, my fault.
getting sleep without getting interrupted, work out
Yeah.
without getting interrupted. I
You don't
won't
want
run,
them
but maybe
calls where they
like
just want to talk no more.
yeah, I won't run a lot of BS calls. Oh, I fell and hurt my knee, and I need to go to the ER at 2 o'clock in the morning. Um,
But
I won't get any. I won't be running, double digit calls every shift. It'll be like two or three. I'll be able to watch sporting games in its entirety again instead of getting interrupted. Try to watch a football game or a baseball game or something like that. Like it'll be. I'll be able to fully immerse myself in these games and not expect to get interrupted. And I'll be able to train without getting interrupted. I mean, it's just so many good things that comes with this move. The only thing I don't like about the move is, you know, I like to be busy. I like to be out there practicing my skills and stuff because that's the only way you really truly get better is when you're out there doing it. Like with basketball, like training, you know, it's good to kind of keep the rust off and to keep the mechanics sharp and all that stuff. But you can't really simulate a real game situation just going in the gym and shooting by yourself. Same thing with EMS and firefighting. Like we can do all the hose pulling we want to do, all the scenarios you want to do. As far as EMS goes, practicing doing CPR on a little dummy or whatever. But like you can't simulate going into somebody's house and there's shit everywhere and you got family members screaming in the background. Same thing, pull up on the scene of a fire. You can't simulate how hot it's going to be or, if, who you're going to find, um, how bad the conditions are, if there's going to be a power line down in the front yard. Like none of that stuff you can do as much in training. Like, yes, you can do things to kind of be aware and prepared for it, but you're not feeling that the emotion of it, the stress of it, that extra boost of adrenaline that you're going to get from having to perform in front of your peers, in front of others, that you get when you're practicing and when you're training. So that's the only thing I don't like is that I won't be out in the field as much, but everything else is a plus. So I'm looking
So,
at it that way.
and that is, it is a plus. I think it's like Brother Blue says. It sounds like a promotion to me. But let me ask you something back to what Teggy said. Do you think anything of what you were dealing with had anything to do with your race at all? I didn't want to skip over his question.
Yeah, I did see that. I was gonna come back to it, but I don't think that it does because there are a few people who look like me that work there. So I don't think it's all a racial thing. And another good thing about where I'm going to, because this station's also like kind of like, well, I didn't really leave the hood from the station I was at. I'm still in a pretty hood-like area. But the station that I'm going to is only one other person there that is African American. So I'll be the second African American there, and I think it's important for me because I was talking to somebody else about this that used to work for the Lynchburg Fire Department. They were telling me how I think it's a big deal that you're going to the station that you're going to because there are a lot of people in that community who look like you, and when they're used to seeing other people that don't look like them all the time, that can be intimidating and it could relay a message that maybe firefighting isn't for African Americans, but if they see you out there every day, that might give them a chance not only to believe that hey they can do this too, but they feel more comfortable coming up to the fire station and like maybe asking for help or more community engagement and stuff like that. So I really do think that's important for people to see, more people like me to see me on that front apron when they ride by or when the kids are outside playing and stuff like that. Like, oh, he looks like me. I can go up there and ask him to help me put air in my tire if I'm a little kid or something like that. So little stuff like that matters because I found out years ago, kids would come up and they would want a firefighter to help them with something, and they would make up an excuse not to do anything for them. But they see a black firefighter standing out there, and then maybe, you know, I'm just saying, I think that's a big deal too. Another thing too that I meant to mention, um, this station that I'm going to also goes to a lot of fire, which is a good thing for me because I don't have a lot of that experience under my belt yet. So the station that I was at was known for going to a lot of fires, so I didn't really lose out on that. As a matter of fact, the one I'm going to may go to even more fires because of them being right there by the expressway. They hop on the expressway and get to anywhere in the city really really fast. So that's a plus. There's also no ambulance at the station that I'm going to, so I'm not driving people to the hospital. I'm strictly on a fire truck. So that's another thing too that I was looking at that was pretty big. Um,
So,
a lot of people this early in their career don't get that privilege of getting off the ambulance this early. I haven't even been there a full 4 years yet. You had to usually the standard was you ride for a minimum of 5 years before you could get off, and but I've
and
been
you
there
set
for
new bars.
three
You set
three and
new
some
standards,
change.
Trick.
And it's not just me. Other people have had that opportunity too, but it's been very, very rare. Of all the people in the fire department that we have, there are a lot of people who've been there way longer than me who probably deserve that opportunity to go somewhere where they don't have to ride a medic unit. But there's people at the department who've been there longer than me and still have to ride the ambulance. And I'm one of the few people who don't, which is kind of crazy to think about. So,
That's it. I agree with what Brother Blue said, man. They saw how good you were and they looked out. Like, why would I want
yeah,
people that's doing the same old, same old? I don't want somebody that's gonna come to a new station and do more of the same. I want to come set that standard and like you said too, put the people that's in this community, let them see. Like if I see it, I can do it. If I can touch it, I can make it happen. So I think that's big and like everybody's saying, man, the Lord is putting you in this place for a reason. He's putting you in this space for a reason, and you are doing what you're supposed to do and walk. And I think when you get into that space and you let people see you for who you are, I think that you're gonna really tap into that reciprocal energy I think you're looking for. I think you're gonna find a lot more of it now, especially when you get into this space.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And I want to let everybody know that's watching right now that this is really like 5 minutes. Like when I got the news over the phone when I was on vacation that I was getting moved, like it was literally like 5 minutes of me just sitting there going through all those negative things. And man, I know the territory. I did this, I did that, whatever, whatever. And it seemed like none of it mattered. Once those 5 minutes of those thoughts went out, I was like, let me look at all the positives of where I'm headed. And when I realized all the pluses of where I'm going, oh, I got over that real quick. But of course, I was off work for almost a month. So like, over that time, people would text me and say things like, when you leave and all this other stuff or whatever. And that kind of, made me mad. But like the day I found out, it was literally like 5 minutes of, I felt terrible, whatever. And then I immediately went to, okay, here are all the good things. And that list got really long, really fast. And as I'm going through it, I'm thinking about stuff. I'm like, I'm smiling to myself. I'm like, yeah, okay, yep, this could be good. This is gonna be good. So I'm good. I'm good with it. I'm not really losing out on a whole lot like I thought I would be. I just kind of wanted to tell everybody, where my mind was at the time, my thoughts. People who I thought, thought the world of me, and maybe they still do. I don't know. Um, People who I thought the world of me and how they truly felt. Um, Not really getting a whole lot of interaction, like, hey, sorry about the move, whatever, thank you for everything you did, all that kind of stuff. Like, none of that ever really came about from a lot of people or from people that I thought it would come from. So, but like I said, it was just a few minutes of, being upset, and then I got over it pretty fast. So, trust me, I'm good with the move.
So we what we talked about, like, this is what we talked about in the group chat that I'm saying out loud now, is we were talking about should we do our topics as episodes or segments, and we 52 minutes in and we only in the first segment, so it's so which one? I'm gonna move us on. I'm gonna get my Molly on. Do y'all want to move into the Miles message or do we want to talk about the Yankees?
Miles, message, please.
Oh, the Miles message. So
Please, Miles,
Miles,
message me.
brother Miles, you have a message for us.
Yeah, so I want to say Sunday, U.S. track Olympian, is it Sha'Carri or Sha'Carri?
I think it's Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri Richardson was arrested for domestic violence. Allegedly, she pushed her boyfriend, who's also a Olympic track runner, Christian Coleman, pushed him into a wall to where he almost fell, and she threw some headphones at him. Um, Christian Coleman, he took the high route. He didn't say nothing bad about her, which, okay, cool. I ain't knocking that. But, brother, you better run. If she's whooping your ass in public, she will whoop your ass in private. Um, as
That's
somebody
crazy.
as a man who has been victim of domestic violence, get the hell up out of there, man. Get up out of there. Get up out of there. This is a public known woman. And if she is willing to whoop your ass in an airport where there's people, phones, all types of stuff, no telling what the fuck she'll do in private. Um, Also, what I don't, and I mean, I know the video hasn't come out yet or the whole story, but she was in jail. She did something big enough to where she had to get arrested and thrown and booked in jail. Um, but you don't hear about this. Like, I have yet to hear the media outlets talk about this. I found out on Twitter. Um, if the roles were reversed, oh, this dude would be getting dragged 3 ways into Sunday.
Hmm.
Sha'Carri Richardson would be, she would be, the victim of the country. Oh, justice for Sha'Carri. She'd be getting endorsement deals. She'd be on Oprah Winfrey. I mean, the whole nine fucking yards. But, you don't hear shit, when she's the one giving out the ass whooping. Um, it's wild, man. Man, we got to be careful, man. Pick your women wisely. Pick your women wisely. Because
So
as a victim, that shit could go left and it can ruin you. Um, I never told nobody this, but you know, I was in a situation where the police actually came to my apartment, and I think the only reason why I didn't get arrested or thrown in jail was because the cop, I guess he was at the end of his duty. He's ready to go to fuck home. He's like, everything good, and we said, yeah. He left, but that shit can turn left. She whooping your ass, you get mad, and you might try to push her or get her out your way, and if she falls, that's it. What's up, Trigger?
ball game.
Sir, you had the cops come to your apartment. It's the first time
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen
Oh
about
yeah.
this.
Oh
You
yeah. Yeah,
dropping.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so all right, well I'll tell the story. So not in my previous relationship.
Well, yeah,
Um
I figured that much.
yeah, we got into an argument because of over a Facebook post. Crazy. This she fucking I was cooking jambalaya. She knocked the jambalaya off the stove, threw a
Oh
fucking Yeti
hell.
threw a
Oh.
fucking Yeti cup at me with water in there. One of those heavy ass Yeti cups. Threw that shit at me. So I was wrong. I cut on the water faucet, took some water, and threw it in her face. Took some Dawn soap, squirted in her face. A little bit of soap got in her mouth, and she called the police and said I tried to poison her. Yeah. So, fellas, get the fuck up out of there. Yeah, yeah, crazy, right? Crazy.
She knocked the jumper fly off the stove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trigger, stop, man. Cause I ain't want to say that. I ain't want to say that. Man, I'm hungry too.
Bro,
Yeah,
I'm
no, no, no,
laughing.
no.
No, I'm laughing because I would have been
I'm sorry.
pissed.
We
I would have
laughing at
been
your pain. I'm sorry, man. We
pissed.
laughing
Yeah,
at your, but
no,
it's not.
laugh
We safe
away
space.
because
This is a
it
safe
was,
space. We
yeah,
laughing.
Laughing, bro.
yeah.
Man,
That
look.
shit real.
But the moral of the story is,
She
fellas,
knocked the hot pot off the stove.
do not put up with that, man. The minute she puts her hands on you, get up out. Well, the thing of it is, he tried to walk away, but she kept following him. So I mean, I guess he tried to walk away, but
Yes,
he
man.
So,
needed he needed he needed to cut ties with this woman, man. Cut ties with her.
hey, look, dramatic effect, brother. Um, this ain't. Hey, look, this is the first episode of Ballers, but this ain't. Hey, look, we 100 episodes deep from Strictly. I'm gonna say 100 because I don't know the number for real. But look, so you said the Facebook post, so I want to take that somewhere.
Wow, man.
Now, was the Facebook post? I don't think it did warrant the reaction, and if it was the same thing,
So
maybe
here's the
he got a
thing:
message.
it was Labor Day weekend. I mean, cut you off. It was Labor Day weekend. We went to the county fair. She wanted me to post a picture and say, "So y'all know me, man. I don't do
Yeah,
shit for
Yep, no pictures.
I
Yep.
don't do
yeah.
shit for Facebook." So I put something like another good weekend with her, and she got mad and said I could have done more. So I'm like, really?
I'm gonna throw
Mind
up.
you, I just gave her,
He's almost through it.
yeah, mind you, I just gave her money for my referee check. Just gave it to her. Here you go.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
but I
Lord.
need to do more on a Facebook post, so I went the fuck off. Went the fuck off.
First off, you gave her money. She should be like honored, like for you to give her money.
Yeah,
Not in the way people don't know the background. For Miles to give money, that's a
yeah.
big commitment to somebody right
Right,
there. Like
right, right.
that's like a wedding ring for some people. Like
For
that's a
no,
commitment he gave.
for no. Yeah, he gave it to her for no reason too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like the whole check too. Like not even half the whole thing.
Well, it was two checks, so I gave her one, but I gave her half of
Oh, I'm about to say you gave her both of them. I was about to be
it.
like, oh my, man,
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
But still, anything at all.
yeah, that man, God. Hey,
I
I
mean,
thought Miles
Sha'Carri
worked at
gave
Fort
her $20
Knox.
for no reason.
Mhm. So yeah.
So,
So Christian Coleman, man, I mean, you're a grown ass man, but look, bruh, and she'll whoop your ass in public, she'll whoop your ass in private. And the minute you try to restrain yourself, refrain her, and she slips and fall, that's it. Get up out of there, man.
Now,
Um,
my bad. Go ahead.
no, that's just pretty much it, and it just goes to show the double standard in America. You know how it's like a slap on the wrist for a woman to hit a man, but Chris Brown beat up on Rihanna 15 years ago. His reputation
Hey,
is
hey,
still not the
we
same.
don't talk about that.
Yep.
Shout out, man.
And
Shout out.
Rihanna has admitted that she started the fight. Now, should he put his hands on her? No, but she's admitted that she put his hands on him first. Now, why did she not get, vilified?
That's funny because I was thinking about what's his name, the comedian D. Ray Davis made
Oh,
a joke
The Shaq
about
special.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Shackton joint. Yeah.
Said-
Check, man. Y'all, this is a safe space. Y'all gotta stop laughing. We cannot.
he
We
said
sorry, y'all.
he
We
said
need.
she looked at that dude and said, "That's why you can't dance." He went off.
Yeah, but it's true. It's a real double standard. I mean,
It is.
I think I think it's funny. I'm gonna go to one, and I'm segueing a little bit, but I look at how LeBron, with what he's done, when he does some of the stuff that I see Caitlin Clark do, complain for calls and all that kind of stuff, people treat her like, oh, she deserves it, but LeBron's being a baby. And like just to look at double standards in that way and to bring it back to sports, like we already know life the double standards is, especially the double standards towards some of us more than others on different levels. But we not gonna have that conversation like Miles said.
Mhm.
Um, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's tough. It's if I'm like you said, Miles, you got to get away because if you Christian Coleman, like now what happens if it happens again? But now, like you said, you on the other side of it.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yep.
I don't think, and I mean, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's not the first time she put hands on him.
Yeah, I mean, you did it in public, it's definitely not.
That was
If
it. If
you
you
did it at the
whooping his
airport in
ass in
public,
public, you whooping his ass in private. And then the fact that he doesn't retaliate, a lot of women see that as, oh, he's not gonna do nothing. Now I'm gonna really, now I know I can get away with it.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing too. Is like if you start showing that they can do whatever they want to you, they
Or,
will.
if he, I don't know if he got any female family members, but if they ain't coming to his defense, oh yeah, she gonna keep doing it.
Hey, he can call Lauren Mallory.
Oh, nah, you don't want no. That's another story for another day that happened on your wedding night, B Wise. We,
okay.
we ain't gonna get into that one.
Oh
He can
Lord,
call.
that
Yeah,
might be in the after
hey,
dark.
I know who to call.
The,
If I get in some
Yeah,
trouble.
nah, brother. That the
that's an
woo.
offline conversation.
Yeah, that's an offline conversation. Yeah.
Okay, so let me flip it. Let me flip it. Let me flip it. So let me flip it. So like y'all said, we see the action and the reactions, but so what would it look like in that situation if let's say he did have a message or something come through his phone, or maybe is what like to move through that situation and have the judgment to understand who y'all are, to have the maturity to be like, all right, maybe you did some messed up things. How can I
You
hold
broke
you
up. Can you say that
accountable?
again?
If so, I'm just pretty much saying like
Can you say
so.
that again?
For, yeah. So for how could they have better judgment in that? Well, for both of not both of them, but Sha'Carri specifically, what is maybe missing for the judgment, the maturity, and how do you hold people accountable in that situation, and how can they learn
Lock her
maybe that
black ass
conversation?
up.
Golly.
I mean, how else they gonna learn? You give her a slap on the wrist, she ain't gonna learn. Take away some of these endorsement deals. Treat her like a fucking man. They want gender equality. Well, here you go.
How do we
Yeah,
get
I
where?
mean,
Anyway,
and let me just add on to that too, though, because
he said, let me
it's
just
not just
add on.
domestic. It's not just domestic violence. That with men being the victims that kind of goes and it's not talked about. It's not treated the same as when the man does it to the woman. Um, but like accusing man, accusing the man of raping, and he gets
Oh,
proved to
whoa,
be
whoa, Chick,
innocent.
can't say that, bro. Can't say that. You can't say that word, Chick. Can't say that word.
Is
Sexually
that really a
assault.
bad word?
Yeah,
Sexually
you can't.
assaulted.
Yeah, you can't say that word, Trigger.
Yeah, don't edit that and bleep that out. I'm sorry.
Can't edit it. We
Um,
live, brother. See, I told you.
yeah, we did have a conversation about this. Anywho, you know what I'm trying to say.
I know.
So
I
a
know.
woman gets sexually assaulted, okay, and we find out that it's false. Never happened. Man loses, X amount of years of his life behind bars over a false statement, and nothing happens to the woman. A woman who has a baby by a man, and he find out later that the baby not his. Nothing happens. But he's
And
paying
he paid
child support and
child
all this other
support.
stuff. Yep, paying child support and all these other things. Nothing happens. Like, why is it that women can get away with these things and men can't? It's double standards that Mal was talking about. But these are double standards that literally affect lives, and then
Can I?
nothing happens to the other party.
Can I say? Can I speak to that and say I don't? I'm not gonna let double standard be the cop out for the parent thing because that's just two people with a lack of accountability. If you in a situation where you paying child support for 18 years, is we didn't got to a point to where why we at this point. Well, I don't know. I can't say nothing. Like it's points and levels before we get to 18 years. If, but
I mean, but
that's
not
too much in the
necessarily,
weeds.
because if you're in a loving relationship and you as a man, you sit there and thinking, your wife is good, and the whole time, I mean, you don't know, you're not with her 24/7. You say, I mean, people cheat. Chris Rock told the biggest. I mean, he told one of the realest jokes. He said, "Men tell the most lies, women tell the biggest lies." Men tell lies like, "Honey, I'm going to the store. I'm hanging with the fellas." Women, yeah, that's your baby. Like, that's just, you know, that's just how women lie. They don't want to take accountability that, oh, this child might not be yours because, hey, you might leave me. Now, part of the finance is gone. Like, the nigga I got a baby with, he ain't shit. So, I'm gonna keep this lie going and let this good man take care of this child that ain't his.
For you talking about for the committed relationship, yeah, I get it, but that's the lack of accountability on the woman that would be cheating part. But also the two to tango and having the situation of having a baby. You know if you didn't been in there and you didn't made a baby. It's a certain depth and level you hit to where we might need to check on this in a couple weeks because yeah yeah
Yeah.
like the club was in with all of them in there. Like that's why I say like the accountability part too. But yeah, you're right. I think even in a situation with a woman, you should be if you gonna step out like that, come on, yo. You can't you gotta let people know. Especially I don't know. That gives me as the young kids say the icks, like
Right.
all the stuff that's out here today. Like you not just exposing it to the baby, but you exposing me to everything else. So
Right.
I mean, I just think that's a lack of accountability. And to go back to where we got social media, it all starts from social media, looking at it, seeing it that quickly and accessible and available. And I don't know. I got a whole other topic for a whole other day about that we can get into. But let's uh let's try to get the ship back on. Let's try to get the ship back on the seas. Let's shift over to the diamond. Post All-Star break. We're
Well,
seeing
look,
teams take off. Oh, you
I'm
about to
gonna have
head
to
out?
bounce because I got 5% and I'm in the car. So,
Brother Miles is out.
yeah, but nah, man. Trigger, don't do the Yankees too much damage, man.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Trigger, he yeah, Yankees about to get it.
yeah. Well, look,
He said
y'all.
in the
I'll
mood.
catch
No,
y'all
that's
next
okay.
week, man.
Dog,
Hopefully, I'll
man.
be back in my house with the phone charger.
All right, brother.
All right.
Said next week.
Whenever we back live.
Oh,
Hey, we might be back tomorrow.
All right, y'all.
All right, later, brother.
all right, Mouse.
All right, Trigger. So teams are taking off, teams are falling off, and right now the Yankees are the Yankees. Boone's still the guy, but should he be? Trigger says
No,
no.
no, and it's simple. Fundamentals, man. Fundamentals, effort, plays. Like we're this late into the season, and same guys are still making the same mistakes, and that just indicates to me that the manager's not doing a whole lot about it to fix it. Uh, the front office, Cashman has gone out and gotten us the pieces that we need to make a push for the playoffs and hopefully a long run in the playoffs. So he's done his job. The manager has to step up at some point and put the pieces together. And the first thing would be to make sure that people know how to run the bases and field properly and just get down those fundamentals. And then, obviously putting certain pitchers in against certain batters, certain situations. Your starter's struggling, late in the game. You're trying to get extra innings out of him because you don't want to, deplete your bullpen. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes Boone waits too long to pull the trigger, and it costs us games. Or he's premature with it. The guy's dealing like Garrett Cole in the World Series in Game One, and you take him out instead of letting him go. Could have been the difference in the ball game. So yes, I think Boone is somewhere where he does not need to be right now, and the Yankees aren't going to let him go because it's not their mo to fire a coach or manager midway through the season. They haven't done it probably 30 years or something like that, 20, 30 years. It's the last time they've done something like that. So Boone's there. What I don't get is why they covet him so much, why they protect him so much, and why Boone, when they ask him about these mistakes, he's making excuses for these players rather than holding them accountable. And they continue to do the same things. And it's just like, are you managing them or are you being friends with them? Like, like you can't be buddy buddy with these guys. You got to draw the line somewhere and demand, that these guys be on their best game so that we can start winning games because we're giving teams extra outs by not doing the fundamental things we're supposed to do. And then when we're on offense and we're running the bases and we're making stupid mistakes, we're shorting ourselves outs. We're giving ourselves one or two outs rather than all three in some innings. So yes, the Yankees have been shooting themselves in the foot with just fundamentals. And fundamentals, you can't really get mad at the front office for that. That comes on the shoulder of the manager. And he just hasn't been getting it done. And I think that if the Yankees miss the playoffs this year, that he deserves to be fired. I know they just extended him, I believe, but he deserves to be fired if they don't make the playoffs because we've seen it enough. We saw this all last season, the defensive woes they've had, and it didn't get better. In fact, it's gotten worse this year, in my opinion. Um, the pitching has still, even with the deadline additions, hasn't been great. They already sent one guy that they got through the trade deadline down to AAA already. Um, the other pieces that we added: Ryan McMahon, Jose Caballero, Ahmad Rosario, Austin Slater. I mean, we haven't really seen those guys much outside of McMahon. McMahon has played every day at third base. He's been great since the trade. The other guys are bench players, so they kind of been in and out. They haven't really done a whole lot for me to really evaluate. Um, but kudos to the front office for going out and getting those players. However, shame on Boone for not being better and not demanding better from his players. And that's why right now we're fighting for our lives just to be in the playoff hunt.
Do you? So I'm gonna flip it to you. So have you felt in your personal life or professional life a situation like that? Maybe leadership has stayed too long or didn't involve or tried to be too friendly and buddy buddy, and maybe you've seen some things that you're seeing with the Yankees to help give you that better understanding or reasoning, and that's why you can speak to it from not only the fan perspective but also the personal life perspective of it.
Um, I can't say personally that I've been around leadership that kind of worn out its welcome or like the voice got stale or whatnot. I've been very fortunate in my life, um, with sports. All the coaches that I had, they were pretty good for the most part. We only had a couple that were questionable. But for the most part, everybody pretty much poured into the player. They did things that made sense. They held people accountable, demanded the best out of us. And I felt like everyone on the teams that I was on, we all played hard. There was no issues with people, not, showing any effort or wanting to be there. Um, but I've been around others who have had those experiences with people who probably had worn out their welcome or had, just gotten stale,
Yeah.
um, wasn't holding people accountable. And you could see that the environment around this person wasn't the greatest. It, like, sucks the life out of you, especially if you're one of those ones who demand those things and is looking to grow, and instead you're being stagnant or whatnot. It will frustrate you and it will drain you. And it's a domino effect. But almost nothing good comes from those situations. I can tell you just based off of other people's experiences that I've been around. Nothing good comes from those situations where your leadership is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's really all I can say. I don't have any personal experiences per se of being in a place where I wasn't benefiting or I wasn't growing because of the leadership. I can only speak on what I know from other people's experiences.
So to go back to the baseball part of it, so after the All-Star break, who do you have that's surging and who do you have that's sliding? Like who are you looking at that you think is a quiet, dangerous team right now that's sneaking up on people, and what are you looking forward to for the postseason and beyond?
Well, I think nobody had. I'm gonna go one team from the National League that really caught fire and is really dangerous right now are the Milwaukee Brewers. The way they started the season, they started out against the Yankees and they got swept, 3-0. Started the season 0-3. And they look like a team, and they're not just against the Yankees, but throughout the first couple months of the season, they look like a team that was probably going to be on the outside looking in come playoff time. But for whatever reason, or whatever happened, right around All Star break, they caught fire, and they're still, I think they're still ahead of the Cubs in the NL Central, or they might be second place. But they caught fire, and now they look like one of the best teams in baseball. They made a couple of deals at the deadline, I believe, and I know one of their pitchers was potentially on the Yankees' radar, but because they're doing so well, they're not going to trade the pitchers now. But yeah, I would say look out for the Milwaukee Brewers. I know you got the Dodgers, you got the Mets, you got the Cubs. Um, I think the Padres are still in the mix. All the teams that we've seen recently have success over the last few years. But the Milwaukee Brewers, who were in it last year, by the way, came into this season. They didn't look great, and now they're surging at the right time. They're getting hot, and they'll probably be in the picture once it's all said and done. Now, going over to the American League, I can echo that same thing about the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, like the Brewers, weren't the greatest team. They kind of came out of nowhere as the season kind of progressed, and they like literally just took off. They I don't know what happened, but they got a nice core of guys. They signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Because he was going to be a free agent this winter, but they went ahead and decided that we're going to give all that money that we set aside to try to get Juan Soto and other guys to come play for Toronto, and we're going to give it to our guy. So they're keeping Vladimir Guerrero there. You got Bo Bichette, George Springer, Alejandro Kirk. Like those guys can flat out put the ball in play, and their whole team does. That's all they do is put the ball in play. They don't strike out at all, and when you do that and you put the ball in play, you're going to win a lot of ball games. And not to mention, they have a good pitching staff as well. They also went out. I think they got another starting pitcher. Who was it? I forget who it was, but they went out and got another starter. Um, so doubling down on that starting pitching rotation, the bullpen's been decent. They got great hitters, and as a result, they now lead the American League East. I think they're ahead of the Red Sox by maybe like 3 or 4 games. Um, but they were behind in the standings, under 500, and they just surged. So I didn't have the Blue Jays, doing anything major. They're arguably probably the best team in the American League right now.
Is it
Cause
Shane Bieber, the
yes, Shane Bieber, that's who it was. Because he's just coming off of Tommy John. I don't think he's played at all this season, and
former
the
Cy
uh,
Young?
and the Cleveland Guardians traded him to the Blue Jays because the Rays got Adrian Hauser from the White Sox, who was also pretty good. But yeah, so I knew it was somebody. So yes, it was Shane
Yep.
Bieber. So we're going to see how Shane Bieber, he's pretty decent. But we'll see what he does coming off an injury. It might take him some time, but if he does get right, he can definitely be a weapon for them. Um, but anywho, the American League, the Detroit Tigers pretty much sat at the top of the American League for most of the season, and they had a bad skid in July, like the Yankees did. And in fact, a lot of good teams had some bad skids in July, and Detroit just kept falling, kept falling, kept falling. The Blue Jays kept rising, kept rising, kept rising, and all of a sudden they've kind of switched spots now. Now Detroit's still in the mix, obviously. They still, even with all the losses, they still lead the American League Central Division. So, but now the wild cards got interesting. Seattle went out and added two impact players. First baseman Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks. They've got Suarez from the Diamondbacks as well to play third. Cal Raleigh, the home run lead. Like that is
Yes,
a
sir.
man. Randy Rosarena, who former Tampa Bay Ray. The other guys, Julio Rodriguez. I mean, they are loaded, and they have probably one of the best starting pitching staffs in baseball in my opinion when they're on. So look out for the Seattle Mariners. Right now, I believe they are on the outside. Look, I mean, three wild card spots right now is the Red Sox, the Yankees, and then I think it's the Mariners, and then the Rangers. Um, but they're right there, and those pieces that the Mariners added might put them over the top. So we'll see what happens. To a team who should have been in the playoffs last year, had a 10-game lead in the AL West, and then not only lost the lead but didn't make the playoffs. So I think they're a lot better this year than they were last year, and hopefully they put it all together and they might make a run to um, get back into the playoffs again. But that's another team, in the AL outside of the Blue Jays. So I got the Blue Jays, the Mariners. They kind of surprised some people here, given the starts they've had. And from the National League, it'll definitely be the Milwaukee Brewers. But everyone else is kind of doing what we expected in the National League. As far as the American League goes, I would say watch out for Cleveland. They're a couple games out of a wild card spot. Given everything that's happened with them, with some of their pitchers and the whole gambling thing, they got them getting investigated for. But even with all that going on, Jose Ramirez is still there, Stephen Kwan is still there. They traded Josh Naylor, but I'm sorry, yeah, they lost Josh Naylor to the Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks traded him to Seattle. So, but they've been playing. They're still hanging around. The Kansas City Royals also aren't far behind them. They're still hanging around. They were projected to be, a playoff team this year, but they're not far back either. So you got a lot of teams right now that are within a couple games of each other for that final wild card spot. It's going to be very, very interesting in the American League because, again, it kind of shouldn't be surprised why that is because, we knew it was going to be wide open this year. So a lot of teams will be contenders. Everything's so tight. Um, no one really has a lot of separation in terms of, the wins and losses. Everyone's kind of floating around the same record. Those bottom, five, six, seven, eight teams, nine teams. Um, so yeah, it'll be fun. I feel like the National League, the teams that are going to make the playoffs, kind of already locked in. I don't see anybody like the NL West. You know, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants. The Diamondbacks and the Rockies aren't going to do anything. Um,
Dang,
The
you was
NL,
counting them out. That's crazy, chicken.
they're not. They just that's why the Diamondbacks, gave away all their players. They traded one of their starting pitchers, and they traded away the starting first baseman and the starting third baseman. So like they selling. They expect them not to do anything.
They
Um,
selling.
the Colorado Rockies, obviously they might not even win, 50 games this year. Um, and then you go to the NL Central, the Brewers and the Cubs. That's it. Then you go to the NL East. You got the Mets and the Phillies. That's it. The Braves. I mean the Marlins. They hanging around, but they're still the Marlins. I don't think they're ready just yet. And now watching that series against the Yankees, they do have some up and coming pieces. Like they got a young team. They got some really good players. I saw up close and personal watching those three games. And if they can finally get out of baseball purgatory, because they usually trade players to contenders every year, the best players to contenders every year, they might very well be a player in the next year or two in the National League. Go and mark my words on that. So
Uh-oh.
I don't think the Marlins make the playoffs this year, but they do have a bright future if they're able to keep that core together and maybe add a couple of big time bats or something in free agency if they can.
So you say they
Um,
like the Panthers. They may not go to playoffs this year, but next year, Super Bowl.
I ain't saying World Series next year, but you never know. You never know. But they're up and coming, so they're not the Marlins of old where they just kind of you know everyone's punching bag or whatnot. And there's a few teams in baseball that are considered that. They're just a punching bag. The White Sox, the Rockies, the Nationals, the Marlins were in that category. So they're slowly starting to come up out of that. Where the other teams I named are kind of still there, and probably will be there for the foreseeable future. But yeah, I think yeah, the Marlins are on to something, and it would be surprising to have another team in the National League kind of be like, "Hey, we're here," like make things interesting. Now we're not that pushover anymore. So, and now also to add, the Marlins have the best record in baseball since June 13th. By the way, no other team has had one more games than them in that time span. So it's legit. It's real. It's like when the Detroit Tigers went on that run at the end of last year. Everybody thought it was a fluke, and then they started off this season the same way. Now, they kind of fell off a little bit, in the month of July, like a bunch of other teams kind of did. But they're still legit, and they went out and I think they added some players too. I don't think anybody impactful though, but they'll be in the playoffs, obviously, given a very very weak AL Central. But
Yeah.
shout out to the Marlins. The Braves obviously aren't going anywhere. The Nationals aren't going anywhere. So the NL is pretty much we know who's going to be there. The American League is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, Trigger, we are at that time of the night. You got any final thoughts or final things to say to the viewers?
Well,
First
like
thoughts on the first episode?
yeah, well, like BY said, pretty much around the top of the podcast is we're still in the infancy stages of getting this thing together. Uh, as far as the format, theme songs and graphics and all those other things, we'll have it all ironed out at some point. But we just kind of wanted to get that first episode under our belt to kind of see how it was going to look. And I want to say that I'm really excited about this, and I really do love mixing in like the life stuff with the sports. Like I think it's really because we were already kind of headed there anyway on the strictly sports setup and how that went and how that ran. But I like because we can talk life stuff all day,
Yeah.
and everybody can relate to those things. Everybody can apply the things that we talk about to their own personal experiences. So I think it will attract a lot more attention. Well, I don't want to say attention, but like a lot more, interest. People, like to share experiences and talk about things, um, and everyone can relate to that. And the beautiful thing about this podcast is you ain't even really got to be a sports fan. Now, I know we target sports fans, the younger generation, guys who grew up with us or understand, been through the same things, seen the same things,
People who
but
grew up with us.
people, but people who don't like sports can still watch this and learn something. Um, so that's the beauty of it too, and that's what I'm excited about. I'm looking forward to that element being added to the podcast.
Yeah, it's like you said, like Trigger said, we can we same old stuff, but we can expand now. Like we may have a podcast where we got all the fellas in here and we just talking and chopping it up, and it's 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 more intentional with your attention is where you were going with that too. It's like we can do it all. We got a tool bag and it's loaded with a lot. So it's not just highlights and hot takes, and we need to be more what on our takes. Like we first with some of the takes that the big shows do. We'll put it in the group chat a day before, a couple days before. It's like they in our group chat reading what we talking about. So it's life. It's all that kind of stuff. Just trying to find our voice. Like I think that's a good way too. Like finding our voice in this world in this space. So this is gonna allow us to really spread our wings. And I'm gonna have the graphics by the next episode. We're gonna have all that done. We're gonna have that ready. So y'all stay in. Y'all stay tuned. Um, but yeah, I don't got nothing else, Trigger. You got anything?
No, man. Football starting up here soon.
Yeah, that's right. College
Preseason,
football, two
the
weeks,
NFL
15 days.
preseason already back. Yeah, college
Yep.
football's on the way. Before that, the NBA will be starting back up.
NBA,
We'll have MLB playoffs. This it's that time of year, man.
Canelo
Sports
and
about to
Bud,
go. Yeah, sports. Yeah, Canelo, the Bud Crawford fight coming up next month. Um,
SummerSlam fallout. Or what was the recent one?
yes, SummerSlam. We need to get into that.
Yeah, we got a lot. We
Yeah,
got a
it's a lot on the horizon here. We've had a lot to talk about, surprisingly, given the lack of sporting events and stuff, other than things outside of baseball going on over the summer. But like I say, so many things on the horizon, so much to talk about, get into. Looking forward to it.
yeah, we got a
It's gonna be
lot.
a good time.
We got some things we can work on. I just thought of something that we I want to talk to you about in the backstage when we get off, Trigger. But keep showing up, stay consistent, and don't give up before it clicks, because that hardest part, that toughest part of the journey is right before you about to make it. So keep going, keep your head down, keep pushing.
Patience.
Patience is a virtue. So I'm Be Wise.
I'm triggered.
And this is the Ballers podcast. We know you tired, Lady Ray, but
Ball is
keep going.
forever.
The
Ball is
Ballers forever.
forever. Ball is
We
forever.
playing basketball. We need an outro. But all right, we out. Love y'all. Appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.
I got the outro. I got the old outro on here. I can't even show that one. I gotta stop it, and now it's awkward because they see us not stopping.